From the Pacific Northwest to around the world, you are about to powerfully connect with Angela Ray.
Hey there. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Power to Connect. I'm Angela Ray. It's good to be here today. It's good to have you join us. I hope you're staying safe and doing very well. Kiss the kids for me. Tell mom happy Mother's Day, grandma, the whole 9 yards. Today, I'm really excited to have joining us Mr. James King. He is quite the environmental steward, and I'm hoping that he can push us to be better environmental stewards ourselves. James, so good to have you join us. Where are you? It's so beautiful there. I feel like having a picnic.
So currently I am in Atlanta, Georgia at a city park that's called the Outdoor Activity Center and is managed by a wonderful organization, West Atlanta Watershed Alliance. This is close to 26 acres. It has a lot of African-American history that's tied to baseball, the Negro League teams, nice walks, some old historical trees that are here, that's been here for ages. And so I'm sitting amongst the beech trees and also the pine trees as well. So, yeah.
Oh, that just sounds, that whole sentence of you describing everything just took me to another place. It's so fabulous. It's outstanding. And it's our history there. So that's super important. James, you have had a keen focus on the environment for a long time. Where did this come from? Where did your interest in the environment start to percolate?
So I would say this all the time. It started with my grandparents, Wally Maceo Hollis and Eddie Mae Hollis. But I didn't give them credit from the get-go like I should.
Maybe you didn't know,
I didn't know, but I can definitely say it was one time I was in the middle of a speech and I had to go back and give them credit because it popped in my head out of nowhere in the middle of the speech, and I had to give them all the credit. I used to go down to the country, and this is Yatesville, Georgia, Upson County, and have to spend summers and winters down there with my grandparents. My grandparents had, they had a TV, or they had multiple TVs in the house. So 6 channels, 3 of them played twice. I know. I had my Nintendo. I had my CD player.
You had all your stuff.
Yeah, I had a lot of stuff, but far as people, it was just my grandparents and me majority of the time. So my little cousins would come through all the time or once in a while, but then I had a whole bunch of acreage to play in. Long as I stayed in yelling distance, I was good. And my grandfather had pigs, had cows, had chickens. So there was dogs and cats. So I learned how to get along with the animals, play with the animals, play out, use my imagination, in these 50 acres where not only we have our 50 acres, but my great aunt lived next door. And then my great uncle lived next to her.
Wow.
And then this whole street is like over 3 miles and is named after our family, the Hollis family.
I love what you're talking about. This generations of folks living together, along the same, like you said, it's their own street. That's super awesome. And I think that as Black folks, I've seen white people do that, and then they got their own private streets. So that's awesome. Shoots.
Yeah. It's a dope experience, man. It's a dope experience.
And what you're talking about with respect to your grandparents, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to grow up with my paternal grandparents. But when I did meet them at 16, going on 17, it was very similar, a ranch and, the land, a lot of land and, a lot of cattle. And I remember one time I stayed over and I opened up the door the next morning. I said, "Hello, Mrs. Cow, how you doing?" Those cows were like, whoop, they started coming at me. I was screaming, Uncle, come get me. He was like, baby, they don't recognize your voice. I was like, okay. That was my experience at 16. But one of the reasons I'm here in the Pacific Northwest is because of the aesthetics. I wanted trees, and I wanted beautiful trees all the time. It's called the evergreen state because it does rain a lot, but that makes it evergreen. I don't want to take that away. Just the aesthetics just in front of me is just a bunch of trees, and it makes me feel good and peaceful. And I want that for other folks. I want more people of color to be able to see the outdoors as something that is for them. And like you said, and find ways to use it for them.
Yeah, is very important. We call it in the academia field place-based education. And when you think about it, is not always trying to take people outside of their element and saying this is better. It's like showing them what is existing in their neighborhood and how we can improve and not only improve, but how we can bring things back. Like restoring, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, restoring the salmon creeks and streams, native plants, planting them. It's finding the connection to the land right where you are. But yeah, I mean, we can go out to Mount Rainier or here to the Chattahoochee. That's not too far. We can go to the Utoy Creek. A lot of people don't know that Atlanta has a waterfall that is here, that is in the city. So there's
let me stop you for a second, because what you're talking about doing is what this podcast is all about. It is the power to connect. And what you're talking to us about is connecting with nature, connecting with the environment, and using that, partnering, how about that, with the environment? Yes. And using that, to help propel us.
Yes, we have to. It feeds us and we feed it. It is definitely a circle, but we can be a virus to nature and take away too much. Mm-hmm. And we know
that's why education is key. James, that's why education is key, because again, a lot of times as people of color, we see climate issues as, white people issue. And climate injustice, environmental, it's the way sometimes things are talked about or the words that are used. We need to find out how our communities want to be educated about these issues. And then we need to proceed that way, because there's so much that impacts us, whether we're talking about food deserts, not having a grocery store around, you just have a 7-Eleven and a McDonald's. Daycare deserts, we're talking health disparities. There's so much that involves our people, and we have been, disproportionately impacted by environmental stuff that we do along with everyone else.
Think about it. Majority of Black folks live along the coast. Mm-hmm. When you talk about Miami, when you talk about New York, when you talk about New Orleans, LA, you have these Black meccas that are around there. When climate change hit and the sea levels rise, it's going to impact these individuals. And we hope and we pray that our representatives have an emergency plan, because there are a lot of African Americans or a lot of individuals or poor people that depends on mass transit.
That's right.
And if you don't have a car, how are you going to get to a safer location?
That's right.
And everybody can't just weigh it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, when we have to think about these things, and we have to think about in these urban city plans, like how do we bring back those natural resources that will help with these hurricanes and everything else? Why are we taking away all of these trees?
Why?
We have to think about that. Why we can't plant around? Why we can't build around these trees? What is other innovative ways that we can do so? Everybody can't be on the beach.
That's right.
I understand we should take away access to the beach, but every hotel can't be along the beach because taking away the valuable intersection between the ocean and lakes and everything else, the swamps, or that intercoastal portion that is important to nature, in which we can recreate and play in as well. So these things are not taught to us because a couple of things. There's a lot of historical things. Point blank period.
Point blank period.
Just restoration, Jim Crow.
Oh, come on.
Negro parks.
Come on.
And some of the Negro parks was elsewhere. I was just down in Florida, and then they said that, at one point in time, to keep the Negroes away from the beach, they built them pools. And then years later, when they didn't want them in pools, what did they do? They filled the pools up with dirt.
We're always respected, always so respected. Jeez Louise.
And these stories are not told. And they should be told. One, they shouldn't be told because we shouldn't do it to anybody else in the generation that comes after us.
That's right.
Two, it should be told because we had some fighters who fought for us to be at the beach, to learn, to be lifeguards, like to hear about the lifeguards that was down in Florida. At one point in time, it was a lot of lifeguards that were Black, boaters that was Black, and everything else. There's a lot of industry.
Where was that?
Taken away from.
Did you say Miami?
We was down in close to Hollywood and Fort Lauderdale.
I know. Where I used to be a news anchor. And what?
So the park is called Dr. Von D. Meisel Eula Johnson State Park.
They got a lot of people's names in there. We got one park for y'all. We're gonna put everybody's name on it.
Yo, but this is a beautiful park. It has trees on the beach. It's shaded. It is lovely. Is lovely right down below Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful historical park that a lot of African Americans used to go and have fun.
But I lived there for I never heard of this.
It is.
That's crazy.
When I went down there, I had some Morehouse brothers that never heard of the park as well until I brought it up.
What would we do without you, huh? What would we do without you? Let me get to a couple of things. It's very rare to know someone who is a park ranger, period, point blank. It's even more difficult to find that an African-American man was a park ranger and you were a park ranger. That's so cool. Did you run into Smokey the Bear? Okay.
Oh, man. So, I was an urban city park ranger in the historical side of things. So I was an intern at Martin Luther King National Historical Park. Shout out to Ranger Marty Smith, who's like a big brother to me, another Black man who, I can talk to, reach out and show me a lot of things in the park ranger field. And also about Dr. King and other people surrounding Dr. King. So, that generational knowledge was passed on from them to Marty and Marty to me. And so shout out to Marty.
Shout out to Marty.
Whoop, whoop. And not only that, I went to Klondike Gold Rush National Park with Superintendent Bill, and he allowed me to dig in more about African-American history in the Klondike Gold Rush. So I have a project called Finding 99 that it talks about 99 plus African-Americans that went in the time of Reconstruction, came all the way from the South, Midwest, migrated all the way to Seattle, and then go from Seattle all the way up to the Yukon to search for gold, and have an amazing story about a Black woman who comes back, maybe Mason, comes back with a gold dust that's relatively like $5,000 to $6,000, which was a lot back then. She took her family to Africa, everywhere else. She decided when she wanted to marry her man, she had a nice dress laced in diamonds. So people talk about stunning and everything else. They was doing it back then as well.
I know. That's right. Don't act like we just started.
No. So to make those connections to the environment, we have to talk about history. There's some things that'll be missing. And once again, I'll always talk about the importance is multicultural environmental education, is how to make things relevant to no matter what culture comes into the classroom. Everybody has a connection to the environment.
That's right.
Somehow, some way.
Let me ask you about something else you do that's extremely extraordinary. I know you just returned from Florida, and I need you to know I was praying for you because my brother brought some other folks to swim with sharks, and I didn't know what it meant. So tell me about this wonderful program.
Man, 3 amazing organizations came together to create shark therapy. So West Atlanta Watershed Alliance, Gangsters to Growers, and the Great Plains Restoration Council.
Okay.
They came together to take formerly incarcerated young men and women and do restoration work in Atlanta at places like the Outdoor Activity Center and do restoration work down in Florida where we plant mangroves because they're nurseries for sharks. As you may know, when we build on the beaches and everything else, it takes away the mangroves. The mangroves help with high tides, help with storm, and it's also a nursery for little small animals. And also we did ADA accessible trails as well. We helped build out more trailage. So these young men and women, they work their tails off, and their graduation is tomorrow from this program. And their graduation trip was to head down to Florida where we snorkeled with sharks.
That's amazing.
Amazing video.
I need some of that video.
I got you. What happened is they were able to take their time to get adjusted to the water. These are swimmers and non-swimmers. They got a chance to answer or ask questions about the nature, about sharks, plus more. 100% got into the water, or in some type of way, form, or fashion.
And I'm assuming some people didn't know how to swim.
A couple people didn't know how to swim. Tarian is one of them, and he is amazing. And he got into the pool. He got into the oceans last year, and it changed that he was able to come back this year and go again and share his experience.
That's awesome.
Awesome. These young Black individuals have amazing hot sauce, and I got to share that hot sauce with you as well.
Come on.
They are doing a lot of things to change their lives. So when we talk about sharks, we talk about these misperceived notions that people put on formerly incarcerated or whatever Black people that are already put in dangerous situations. And then also sharks. Why do we have this notion about sharks? What do we know outside of Shark Week about sharks?
Outside of Jaws, dun-dun, dun-dun.
And a lot of them know about Jaws, but they don't know educated about sharks. Sharks are definitely friendly. And people like, well, won't you have to be in a cage? Well, you have dangerous sharks as well, like we have dangerous people. But it's not talked about. How we as human beings are cutting shark fins to make soup.
Oh, what?
It's not talking about how we are capturing them when we try to catch other fish and then killing them and then throwing them back in the ocean.
So I'm seeing some parallels between the way the shark is thought of, is presented via Hollywood versus the way Black people are treated. Presented in Hollywood. You see how they present us. If they can do a show with us with we're a bunch of criminals and gangsters selling drugs. What about a show about a brother like you? Park ranger, environmental steward. How about that?
And when this perception comes, not only it impacts others around us, not giving us opportunities. Mm-hmm. That's why we got to become our own entrepreneurs as well. But it is bled into our own community.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm having friends that see this, and like we posted it out there, and people like, you were swimming with sharks? Did you have a cage? Oh, bro, you got to be crazy because they do this and this. And I was like, well, look at this video or understand this. And they go, hold up, I didn't know that. What kind of sharks you were? And I was like, I was with lemon sharks, hammerhead, and the bull shark. Super large, super big. I had to trust in my brother Jareed Manos, who do this a lot. And I had to debunk some notions myself because I am a leader in this community. And then these young men and women have to see me. And I have other leaders that are also I'm a leader amongst my peers as well.
Right. Yes, you are.
So we have to change the narrative.
Absolutely.
We have to change the narrative.
And that's something that I think you're good at doing, irrespective of whatever topic might be on the table. You are very good at switching the narrative and getting us back to where we need to be, back to where we should have been, because there's just so much to make up for. You know, we didn't all start the race at the same time. You didn't pass me the baton at the same time you passed so-and-so the baton. So there's just a lot of learning and connecting that we need to do. And a lot of people of color, Black people, we just have not had the time to do that because we are trying to simply survive on a day-to-day basis. And while we're doing that, life is passing us by and we are not able to allow the beauty of nature and the environment to help to calm us, to provide peace for us, because that's what it does for me. Whenever I get pissed off and angry, go take a walk, Angela, go take a walk. And you see people, you smile, just being out there. I don't care if it's raining, what's snowing, whatever, just go outside and you just, and looking at where you are again, I just wish I was there with you. I wish we were having a picnic with the folks you just took down to Florida with you. But listen,
whenever you're in Atlanta, just come through. Whenever you're in Atlanta, I can see you or not, you'll be taken care of. Come through.
I love it. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed talking with you. You know, you brought up so many important issues, our elders, the fact that we need to be so appreciative of them and what they've done for us. And we need to make sure we take care of our elders, our Black elders in particular, take care of them because they bore the brunt of so much.
Don't forget to subscribe to The Power to Connect with Angela Ray and follow her on Facebook. You can also stay connected on Twitter and Instagram at angelaray.com.